Jamal Nyers here with Mike Goldberg. I mean, what an amazing night that was. Bellator 187. AJ McKee versus Brian Moore. Did you think that fight was going to deliver in the way that it did?
You know what? AJ's been so dominant and so dynamic in his finishes. The head kick against Mazada. What I liked about that fight, Jamal, is that he was taken into some deep waters. Brian Moore won round 2.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? And so you're like, what's going to happen here? Are you really ready for this type of fight? And AJ answered, and it was fun to watch. And you talk about submission finish, Jamal, but it was that 1-2 early in the third round. And so kids 10-0, all in Bellator, just set a record. We're watching next week Daniel Weichel and Patricio Pitbull again, but you got to start putting AJ McKee right in the mix for a title shot.
I mean, he's only 22 years old. Is he one of the best looking prospects you've seen in the sport? You've been around the sport for a long, long time. He's only a year older than me.
It's crazy, right? And Brian Moore told me, it was funny, he said, I started training MMA when I was 22, and he's fighting a 22-year-old. Yeah, he definitely is one, but he grew up with it. Like, I called his dad's fights. I think that makes me old. I'm not so sure. Pretty sure it makes me old, but I called his dad's fights, and it was actually fun, Jamal. We had him and Baby Slice together earlier in the week, and I'm like, okay, I called your father's fight, may he rest in peace, and I called your dad's fight. So, he grew up around the sport. He's different than his dad. His dad, great grappler, great strength. AJ can do it all. It's a lot of fun to watch a kid like that have success.
I mean, he's obviously brash, very confident in himself, but do you think behind the scenes his dad is keeping him grounded?
So his dad, Antonio, said to us as we got ready for the interview earlier, he's like, you know what? My son's a handful. Like, I get it. He goes, I got to keep him on the straight and narrow. It's tough. When you're 22 years old and you're having that type of success and it comes easy, which it doesn't, but it seems to, you can get ahead of yourself. And I wasn't sure if AJ was going to get ahead of himself tonight. And I like the fact that he was tested. And he answered some critics because he was tested. So, yeah, Dad keeps him in check, or at least he tries to.
I mean, another impressive performance. You've mentioned Baby Slice. Who saw that submission coming?
First ever submission win, coming off his first knockout win. Baby Slice is cool. And what I told him about his father, I said, when Kimbo came in, his dad, he was like glorified street fighter, right? YouTube sensation. Yeah. He went on The Ultimate Fighter. He lived with a bunch of dudes your age, right? And he was humble, and he tried to learn a little wrestling, tried to learn a little jiu-jitsu, and I told Baby, this is the first time I'd met him, and I told, Kevin Ferguson Jr., Baby Slice that, and he got a big smile on his face. I'm like, no, dude, I'm serious. I respect your father so much for being that humble when he came into MMA. And, Baby Slice is a cool dude. He's got everything in perspective, but he's also got his dad's DNA. So he's going to be a badass fighter, I think, for a long time.
I mean, it's been an amazing day of MMA news as well. Scott Coker's announced that a Bellator Heavyweight Grand Prix is taking place. Some of the names I was not expecting. Chael Sonnen competing at heavyweight. Ryan Bader, the light heavyweight champion, competing at heavyweight. Rampage Jackson signed yesterday. He's in the tournament. Fedor Emelianenko. I mean, this is a dream for me.
It is for me too, because I'm going to have the honor and pleasure of calling it. And Ryan Bader and I are good buddies. We live both in Arizona. And I did a long interview with him before his title defense last week at Penn State. We talked a little bit about heavyweight. So like, yeah, I'll do it. Here's the deal. Think of Stipe Miocic, about 6'4", 240. We don't have the Overeems and the Brock Lesnars and that anymore. We have these hybrid athletes that move like a middleweight or a lightweight, but they punch like a true heavyweight. Yeah. So you look at these guys, the build, the body type, and the athleticism, it's going to be a ton of fun.
I hate to put you on the spot, Mike, but who is your favorite going into that? I know there's so many names to choose from.
Oh man, I don't even know. I would say Ryan Bader is amongst the favorites for sure. Rampage, I love Rampage because you never know when that big thing's gonna, like that left hook's gonna just knock somebody in the next week. That to me is exciting, but Ryan Bader's my friend, and he gets criticized a lot for not having some exciting fights. You know what? He answered a lot of critics in Penn State last week.
Yeah, he definitely
It was
did.
a great finish for him. And Linton Vassell's a tough dude. So I don't dislike Ryan. in that tournament. But keep them coming, man. The more the better. Matt Mitrione. Do not sleep on Matt Mitrione. Dude played in the NFL.
Yeah,
like, you want to talk about, like, an athlete who isn't 240, he is 265. Matt Mitrione, I don't even know if we can call him the dark horse Jamal, but he's definitely right in it. Oh my God, for sure. And you know, it's so funny. He's so respectful of Fedor, but he's like, Goldie, you're gonna get to call me knocking out the legend. Like, I'm gonna knock out the legend. And it was double knockout. It was like Rocky and Apollo, and you know, Matt got up first, but do not overlook Matt Mitrione in a heavyweight tournament.
Now, finally, there was a moment in the cage. You know what I'm talking about. Conor McGregor, what was that about?
I like a moment, right? A moment. I said on the air, I go, the dude knows how to make an appearance, right? It was weird, you know, and I called a lot of Conor's fights. I have a lot of respect for Conor. Conor's a good dude. I've talked to him. I thought the way he handled himself after the Mayweather fight was 100% pure class. Yeah. When he first came in, Charlie Ward's his boy, as you know, like that's his buddy. Yeah. It's been one of his bodyguards, and he came in to hug his buddy, and then it just got weird. And it got to this Mark Goddard thing from Artem Lobov, and I talked to Mark after. Mark is a great human being, very classy. And he's like, you know, I just told Conor, just be mature. Like, you know, don't act like you did in Poland. So I wish it would have stopped at just him embracing his very good friend after a win. But it didn't, and we'll see what the fallout is from there.
Well, it's great speaking to you, Mike. I'm always a massive fan of your work, and I can't wait to call for you to call Rory McDonald versus Douglas Lima.
Oh, how good is that?
Possibly the two best welterweights on the planet. I can't wait for that. Rory McDonald, for me, I think he's going to become a two-weight world champion in Bellator. So I'm excited for you to call it, man.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
Thank
you.
Great stuff.